Hey, bud. Hey, I don't mind if you record, but do you mind coming over here so you don't get hit?
No, I'll stand right here. Absolutely not.
He has every right to be here.
I wanted to talk about something that I had a back and forth with some people today. We were comparing, and I've been giving deep lectures on understanding Terry, and someone said today that overturned qualified immunity. I don't think I could have made it any clearer yesterday that the problem is not qualified immunity. The problem is Terry versus Ohio. And it can be proven time and time again. For example, did you see that officer who just walked up to me a minute ago? And even though I'm standing on a public sidewalk and clearly I'm not in the road, he said to me that he wanted me, did I mind if I moved, because he didn't want me to get hit by a car. But do you think he gives a shit about whether or not I get hit by a car? He doesn't give a shit about me. What he wants to do is control and dominate me. Now, here's the major question. Can he control and dominate me without invoking Terry? No. The way he's going to initially respond to me is through Terry versus Ohio, you see? And so you have to understand that. 9 out of 10 interactions with police are going to start with Terry versus Ohio. They do not start with qualified immunity. My First Amendment right to film can be interrupted, can be stripped away from me using Terry versus Ohio. Because all the cop has to say is that he's suspicious that I'm doing something wrong, and that will then enter into a Terry stop. That is not qualified immunity. Now, if the cop believes that I'm armed and dangerous, well then that's my Second Amendment right being stripped away. Do you see? You have to understand this. You have to understand the basic tenets of law. You have to understand the most important factors of law. And the most important factors of law are how the law enters into your life. The law does not enter into your life through qualified immunity. The law enters into your life through Terry versus Ohio. my Fourth Amendment right to be secure in my person. And someone sent me an email earlier today and said that saying the word person means I'm referring to myself as a slave. Okay, well, is that how the courts interpret it? If I go to court, does the court consider that does the court interpret it that my person means that I'm a slave? No, they don't. They don't. There's not a court in America that would say you have a right to be secure in your person. Your Fourth Amendment right means that you're a slave. That's not what the Fourth Amendment is interpreted by the courts in the United States of America. So you have to understand that. The Fourth Amendment does not mean because you say secure in your person that you're a slave. I read the entire email. Unfortunately, I have OCD and I can't help it. When I get some data, I have to read it. I have to know what they're saying. And so on this particular scene here, what we're looking at here, see, now I'm in a crosswalk here. Someone's going to talk some stuff to me, but you don't have to listen to other people. Remember, you have a right to be free in this country. You don't have to let other people tell you what to do. Nobody has the right to tell you what to do. Nobody has that right. The only person who has the right is you. The rights in our country belong to you. They do not belong to these guys in blue. They do not belong to the guy who flipped that car over. Your rights are fundamentally yours. Now, what strips away your rights? Does qualified immunity strip away your right, or does Terry versus Ohio strip away your rights? Terry versus Ohio strips away your rights. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand that. There's a fundamental understanding. Qualified immunity doesn't take away your rights. It then is invoked after the officer violates you, and it gives the officer extra rights. Essentially, the officers are the sovereign citizens. You see? It's not us. We are free people. And all these people who send me these individual terminologies that say this means this and this means that and this means this, you have to understand it doesn't mean what you think it does just because Black's dictionary says it means this. If you go to a court, listen, did you listen to the Supreme Court hearings? Did you guys hear the Supreme Court hearings on the OSHA case? I listened to them all the way in entirety today, right? Terry versus Ohio strips us of our rights. The most important case in our country is not qualified immunity. I had a back and forth with a guy today, and he said to me, well, yeah, well, 20 years of my opinion. I don't give a shit about 20 years of your opinion. 20 years of your opinion means diddly bupkis. It means that you've refused to educate yourself for 20 years. That's what that means. If you don't understand that Terry versus Ohio has fundamentally stripped us of all of our liberty, of all of our rights, I can't help you. You can continue down the road with your opinion. That means absolutely zero. Right now, how can my First Amendment right be violated? My First Amendment right can be violated by a cop coming up and stripping me of my First Amendment right to be press. Even though I'm standing on the sidewalk here, one of these guys can come up and violate my rights. That's through Terry versus Ohio. That is not through qualified immunity. Do you see the difference? So right now, if someone comes up and tries to take my camera out of my phone and say that you don't have a right to film, is that press? Am I freedom of the press? Is that my First Amendment right? Yes, it is. Now, if the cop grabs me and hurts me, then he's going to invoke qualified immunity. You see? But qualified immunity does not begin until the Terry stop begins. You see? The only way that qualified immunity can start is the initial interaction with the police. Do you understand that? Do you see that? You see, my rights can be violated by Terry. They can't come and take away my phone by qualified immunity. That's not how it works. Now, what's my right to be free in my person, houses, papers, and effects? That is my Fourth Amendment right. So right now, if one of these cops walks up here and grabs me, I'm no longer secure in my person. How does the cop walk up and grab me? He walks up and grabs me by invoking Terry. not by invoking qualified immunity. Do you see the difference? Do you see the major difference? It was so annoying. I had this back and forth with this guy today in the comments, and he was saying, well, it's you know, my 20 years of observation tells me that qualified immunity is more important than Terry versus Ohio. And I said to him in the comments, I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care if you subscribe to my channel. I don't care if you leave here and you don't like me. It's Terry versus Ohio. And forgive me for getting so excited, but I just don't have any patience for people who refuse to learn anything. You have to be willing to learn. How many times, how many pinned comments on my videos do you see where someone corrects me and I pin their comment right to the top of the video because they're right and I was wrong? It's not about me being right. It's about the truth. It's about justice. That's what it's about, you see? So right now, if these cops decide to violate my rights, are they violating my rights through qualified immunity? No, they're not. If they walk up here and they decide to take my camera away from me and put me in handcuffs, are they doing that through qualified immunity? No, they're doing that through Terry versus Ohio. Okay, now, why do the cops have the right to put their hands on me right now? If right now these officers walk up and put their hands on me, are they using qualified immunity or are they using Terry versus Ohio that puts officer safety over my right to be free in my person? Don't come to me with your qualified immunity garbage anymore. I realize how important taking over qualified immunity is, but it's down the list. It's a little bit down the list, as a matter of fact. It's not even number 2. It's not even number 2. Qualified immunity is not even the second one on the list. What's the second one on the list? Graham versus Connor. What's the third one on the list? Federal Election Commission versus Citizens United. You see? So right now, the only way the police can get into my life is through Terry versus Ohio. The police cannot get into my life through qualified immunity. Listen, it's almost like, you know what I want to do? Do you know what I'm going to build? I'm going to build the Dunce Cap Award. Do you know that? I'm going to make a dunce cap, and I'm going to give a dunce cap to the person who continues to say qualified immunity. Because it's not that, I'm not trying to be mean to anybody here, but the guy who pushed back on me today, I said, I just made an 1.5 hour long video, and I've explained that it's Terry versus Ohio. So let me ask you a question. If there's a DUI checkpoint right here, if there's a DUI checkpoint, did the DUI checkpoint get set up through qualified immunity, or did the DUI checkpoint get set up through Terry versus Ohio? Which is it? Which is it? I know which one it is. It's Terry, but so few people want to admit it. So very few people. So very few people. You see? Now, so here's the thing. This road right here has been closed down. You got the tow truck driver here. He's come over here. He's going to tow this car away right here. And then over here, you have the 2 police officers. You have 2 more police officers right over there. You see? You see, you have 2 cops there, and you got 2 cops here. So the 2 cops over there, the 2 cops who are over there, how do they enter into my life? Can someone type it down in there? If those 2 cops right over there, if they decide to enter into my realm, into my reality, how do they enter into my reality? How does it come to fruition? How does a cop walk up to me and enter into my world? How does that happen? Can anybody type it down there in the comments for me? Someone type it for me. How does a police officer enter into my world? How does that happen? Can anybody type it? I can't see anything. Through Terry. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I can't see the phone because all the lights are going on. This tow truck driver is about to pop this car over right here. You see the cable right there? He's about to pop that car over, you see? Now see, I'm still on a public sidewalk access, and you see, there's no sticker tape put up around me, and so I have the right to roam freely. Now, in the event that these guys set up some sort of sticker tape, I may have to just stay out of the way because I don't want to deal with being Terry stopped. Because I'm wearing a coat, I'm not wearing my Terry shirt. I didn't plan on popping over here. I don't, you see, you can't tell if I have any weapons or not. Now, how does a cop enter into my life if he thinks I could have weapons? if the police officers here, if this police officer here or this police officer over here, if they think that I have weapons, how do they enter into my life? How does that happen? How do they enter into my life? If that cop right there says, oh my God, I think that guy with the headphones on has a weapon, how do they enter into my life? Through a Terry pat down. Now, do they enter into my life through qualified immunity? Do they enter into my life through qualified immunity? No, they don't. I don't mean to be condescending to the people here. It just really frustrates me because you have to understand how the initial interaction begins, and that's why I'm on the scene here to show you guys how it goes down. So my First Amendment right to film can be violated how? How can it be violated? Through Terry versus Ohio. My Second Amendment right to be armed can be violated by how? By Terry versus Ohio. My Fourth Amendment right to be secure in my person can be violated how? How can my Fourth Amendment right be violated? Through, oh, I missed it. I missed the car that flipped over. I should have got that. You see, my Fourth Amendment right can be stripped away through Terry versus Ohio. Is my Fourth Amendment right stripped away through qualified immunity? Is my Fourth Amendment right stripped away through qualified immunity? Yes or no? No, it's not. My Fourth Amendment right is stripped away through Terry versus Ohio. Now, what about my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent? What about my Fifth Amendment right? I have a Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. How in the world is my Fifth Amendment right stripped away? Well, it's by my Eighth Amendment being violated against cruel and unusual punishment. So how is my Eighth Amendment right stripped away? How am I cruelly punished right this second? Can someone tell me? If the cops decide to grab me and put me in handcuffs, the right to me not to be subjected to cruel and unusual punishment is completely and utterly wiped away through what? What's it wiped away from? From Terry versus Ohio. That's not qualified immunity. That cop has a right to put me in handcuffs. Why? How come? Why does he have a right to put me in cuffs right this second? How come the cop has a right to put me in handcuffs right now? Why? How come? Anybody? Because of Terry versus Ohio. Now, once I'm put into cuffs, how long before I start to talk like a jaybird? How long before I start to talk? Very soon. If I asked yesterday, how many people have been put in handcuffs? That's what I asked. How many of you have been put in handcuffs? And if you didn't say yes, then you don't understand that once you're put into handcuffs on a Terry stop, then when he says, where are you going? I'm gonna tell him, I'm just going down to downtown Tucson, man. Get these cuffs off me, you're killing me. These hurt so bad. My shoulders hurt so bad from being put in these handcuffs. So is that qualified immunity? Does the officer not have a right to detain me using handcuffs through what? Through what? How does the cop have a right to put me in handcuffs? How is it? Is it through qualified immunity or is it through Terry versus Ohio? Which is it? Which is it? The silence is deafening. It's through Terry versus Ohio. Do you follow? So people, the guy who chimed in earlier and said, oh, well, I got 20 years of observations and my opinions say that qualified immunity is more important than Terry versus Ohio. Okay, what about your Sixth Amendment right? If the cop comes over and decides to detain me using Terry, and he's gonna say that I think that you're about to commit a crime, well, who is the victim? I have a Sixth Amendment right to face my accuser. So then let me ask you a question. If he decides to detain me on his reasonable suspicion that he believes I'm about to jaywalk, which is a crime, which you can be arrested for because of the 2001 case of Atwater versus City of Lago Vista, does he have a right to put me in cuffs because of qualified immunity or because of Terry versus Ohio? Do you understand? I want to put to bed this silly, silly argument of qualified immunity. It's just stupid. We have to get rid of Terry versus Ohio. It's the #1 problem facing America. It's the #1 problem facing our entire world. There is nothing more important than overturning Terry versus Ohio. There is nothing more important. It looks like they got the car flipped over here. You still got your 2 officers back here. You still have the 1 officer right here. You see, so we still officially have somewhat of a crime scene here, and the cop over here is going to drive the tow truck back there. You see? You see? Now, I just explained to you as I'm on the scene how my rights can be violated, and none of them had to do with qualified immunity. The way all of my rights can be violated is through one case and one case only. Terry versus Ohio. That's how it happens. It doesn't happen through qualified immunity. Now, if the cops beat me up and I actually have a 1983, which is a civil rights violation, which, by the way, the exact precursors or the let me get the right terminology. The exact specifications to file a 1983 would include that I have to prove that my constitutional rights were completely circumvented and skipped, and that my rights were walked on. So to prove that an officer cannot invoke qualified immunity, I first have to go around what case? Terry versus Ohio. It has really incensed me the entire day. It has really made me upset the whole day that there's so many people who keep on writing qualified immunity, qualified immunity. Well, I'm afraid that you're wrong, and I don't have time to be polite. I have time to treat you like a person, but I'm not gonna sit here and placate your feelings like, oh, listen, let me explain it to you. I want you to understand. Let me help you. Let me really explain it to you. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let you know right away in no uncertain terms that you're incorrect with your data. And by the way, don't hesitate to let me know when I'm wrong. You should clue me in to when I'm wrong. You follow? You always let the person know when they're wrong. When your mother is wrong, do you tell her you're wrong? Yes, you do. When your brother is wrong, do you tell him you're wrong? Yes, you do. When your father, when your sister, when your cousin, when your lover is wrong, do you tell your lover that they're wrong? Yes, you do. So when people chime in here and they say, oh, it's qualified immunity, I just let them know right away, you're wrong, and I'm sorry that you're wrong. I'm more than willing to educate you, but I'm not gonna sit here and dance around, well, let me try to explain it to you, Bill. You know, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Which, by the way, a guy named Matthew earlier, I need your email address, Matthew. Matthew sent me some, if you want the book and you want me to send you the digital poster, brother, I need your email address, Matthew. Matthew sent me a donation earlier. I'm super grateful. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You got to send me your email address, though. And on PayPal, for some reason, I can't send messages. I don't know why, but I can't send any messages, okay? Yeah, I'm going to stay safe. I always watch my back. You always got to be watching your back. But these cops are not doing anything. They're just securing a scene here, you know? Later, they might do something to somebody and destroy someone's life. But the point is, though, and the reason why I stopped here is I wanted to give you a specific example. And I'm just going to ask it one more time. If this officer decides to take my phone out of my hand, is that qualified immunity or is that Terry versus Ohio? That's Terry versus Ohio. Okay? That's what that is. Okay? So you don't want to live in ignorance. You want to live in knowledge. And if anybody here can ever correct me, I appreciate it. Thank you for teaching me something I didn't know yesterday. Every time someone corrects me, which is daily, by the way, I make mistakes daily. Do you know that? I'm wrong every single day. Do you know that? And every day someone corrects me. And when they correct me, do you know what I say? Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for showing me how I was wrong. Where's everybody from? Type in where everybody's from. You guys reach up there and hit that like button. See the like button up there, or is it down there? Just reach up and hit that like button for me. If you just reach up and tap that like button for me. Everybody in here, just reach up and hit the like button. You see the little thumbs up button? Just reach up and tap it. Just reach up and tap it. Tap the like button. Just hit the like button, whether it's down there or up there or over there. Just take your finger and hit the thumbs up button for me. That shows YouTube that the engagement is a positive one and you guys enjoy the things that I'm saying and what we're talking about today. Oklahoma's in the house. Good to see you, Oklahoma. I'll be heading to New Mexico. I'll be heading to Albuquerque, New Mexico next week. I'll be in Albuquerque, New Mexico next week. If anybody's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, please let me know. Please let me know. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Appreciate your job, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's a tow truck driver. He's doing a lot of hard work. You see who's doing the labor here? Who's doing the work? Who's doing the work? The tow truck driver is doing the real work here. Do you see that? You see that? He's working hard for his money right now. That gentleman right there is working hard for his money. North Korea in the house. Okay, so now are we clear on how my rights can be violated? Can my rights be violated through qualified immunity, or can my rights be violated through Terry versus Ohio? My rights can be violated through Terry versus Ohio. The qualified immunity only comes if I'm attacked by a cop. If I'm physically attacked after the interaction begins. Do you see the difference? You guys gotta spread the message here. Every time you see someone put qualified immunity, check them. And you tell them, no, 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 no. It's Terry. It's Terry. It is Terry versus Ohio. And I wanted to have this opportunity to talk to you guys, and there's thousands of you. I can't keep up with all the messages. I cannot keep up, right? So if I miss your message, by the way, Agent, I can't remember Agent's last name on the username. Agent, you wanted me to send you a free book? You wanted me to send you a free poster? No problem. I don't have your email address, Agent. I don't have your email address, so please send me your email address, okay? Agent, the username on YouTube was Agent. They asked me to send them a free ebook and a free poster. No problem, I'd love to. I would absolutely love to. Someone contacted me earlier yesterday, and they said that they didn't have the money for the ebook or the poster right now, but they would have it next week. And you know what I told that person? Let's not wait on your education. Let's get you it now. If you come back around next week, great. If you don't, fine. And I sent it to him right away, no delay. Because the more you and I educate each other, and by the way, thank you for the education. Some of you have educated me. Some of you have educated me. Go to DeleteLawZ.com with a Z, DeleteLawZ, DeleteLawZ, DeleteLawZ. There's a digital poster, there's a $99 laminated poster, indestructible, and there's a laminated poster as well. So those are on there. Look at this gentleman over here, working hard for his money, putting in hard for his money. Someone can type that in there for him, DeleteLawZ with a Z, DeleteLawZ.com. My donations are not working on there. You have to directly contact me. I'll send you my pay apps. I appreciate that. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. So like over here, this one here's got a K9 in it. Okay, so what is the 2013 case of Florida versus Harris? Does anybody know that? Can someone type that? Agent, there you are. I don't have your email address, Agent. I would love to send you a free poster and a free ebook. I don't have your email address. Send me your email address, please. So the 2013 case of Florida versus Harris right there, this is a K9 unit right here. So what does the 2013 case of Florida versus Harris say? That if a dog barks, that is probable cause. Is that qualified immunity, or is that the jurisprudence of Terry versus Ohio? If a dog barks at you, you can be arrested. That is probable cause. The jurisprudence is Terry versus Ohio. It's Terry versus Ohio. A dog barking at you or your car, the jurisprudence is Terry versus Ohio. It is not qualified immunity. If the dog attacks me, then the dog has qualified immunity. Do you understand? You understand? The way this officer or that dog can enter into my life is through a case called Terry. It is not through the qualified immunity doctrine. It is not through that. It is through Terry. The cop grabbing me, the dog attacking me being stopped and skiffed, me being thrown on my belly, me being put in handcuffs, me being questioned and ignoring the Fifth Amendment are all based on Terry versus Ohio. And I had planned on coming on here earlier and talking about qualified immunity versus Terry versus Ohio, but I was driving to Tucson here, and I wanted to get to everybody here, and I want you guys to correct people. You start to correct them. The way the dog barks from the 2013 or 14 case of Florida versus Harris is through an extension or jurisprudence of Terry versus Ohio. There's a very big difference. The dog attacking me, the way the dog can get on me at all is because of a Terry stop, okay? Oh, there's the guy right there, the professor. Is this the guy who I tore his head off earlier? Yeah, that's it. the Professor Fate. Professor, dude, I don't want to call you names or belittle you as a person, but my friend, you just don't match my knowledge, brother. And it's not personal. I don't think my arm is bigger than your arm, right? But what you're saying is stupid. It's stupid. And I've taught everybody here that the back and forth I had with you today is part of the reason why I'm giving this talk this evening. The way the officer can take my phone away is how? How can the cop walk up to me right now and snatch my phone out of my hand? How can that happen? He can snatch my phone out of my hand through a 1968 case called Terry versus Ohio. Can he snatch my phone out of my hand based on qualified immunity? No. The way the officer can walk up and pat me down and skiff me down, is that through qualified immunity? No. Is that through Terry versus Ohio? Yes. If I'm not secure in my person, and someone said earlier, if you say person, that means you're a slave. I don't think there's any court in America that's going to say the Fourth Amendment says that you're a slave. I'm sorry. I don't think there's a court in America that's going to say that. But if he decides to run up and grab me and put his hands on me, is that through qualified immunity or is that through Terry versus Ohio? That's through Terry versus Ohio. That's a Terry stop. So how does the initial reaction? I can't read. I don't care what you say, Professor. I really don't care. I really don't care. I'm even willing to just mute you because I don't want to. I'm going to put you in timeout because you're just going to say stupidity. It's just stupidity. I'm sitting here educating you, sir. I'm sitting here teaching you. I'm sitting here with my time on Saturday night instead of me going downtown and chasing some babe. I'm sitting here educating you, and you call yourself a professor, but you don't know that the First Amendment, Second Amendment, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, and Eighth Amendment can all be superseded by Terry versus Ohio. But you have the name of your channel as Professor. Okay, so what Terry versus Ohio does is it allows police to walk up to you based on their suspicion, and if they're suspicious of you, then they can pat you down, which violates your Fourth Amendment right. And if they think I have a weapon, now I'm not allowed to carry a weapon anymore because Terry versus Ohio puts officer safety over our rights. And then if I'm filming and the cop runs up and says, I don't want him to film, he can grab my camera through Terry versus Ohio. And then if the cop wants to put me in handcuffs to detain me, that's your Eighth Amendment, to be absolved of cruel and unusual punishment. That's done through Terry versus Ohio. And so then once I'm put in handcuffs and I'm being tortured, according to Terry versus Ohio, he has the right to detain me and ask me questions. Is that through qualified immunity or is that through Terry versus Ohio? That's through Terry versus Ohio. Do you see? Do you see? So it has nothing to do with qualified immunity. The only time qualified immunity comes into effect is after the cop has hurt me and beat me up, and then I have to prove specifically, according to the 2017 case of Turner versus Driver. Turner versus Driver. Matter of fact, someone reminded me of that case earlier today. I'm well versed on the case, in case you guys didn't know that. It's called Turner versus Driver. That means Turner versus Driver, if you read the syllabus, if you read the case study of Turner versus Driver, what it says is that Philip Turner has to prove that his fundamental constitutional rights have been violated. Now, is that through qualified immunity or is that through Terry versus Ohio, right? How did Philip Turner initially get arrested? How did he initially get put in handcuffs? Was he initially put in handcuffs because of qualified immunity, or was he put in handcuffs because of Terry versus Ohio? He was put in handcuffs because of Terry versus Ohio. Do you see? Do you understand? I want everybody here to have an understanding. An understanding. It is not qualified immunity that you and I need to take on first. The first thing is we have to get our messaging clear that we got to take on Terry. Terry takes on the police state. Hey, Chille, no more Terry. All right. And then as you guys, I'm not sure if you guys can see this or not, but the scene is pretty clear. I'm gonna head to downtown Tucson. I'm heading to downtown Tucson right now. I will see you guys in a little bit. I want you guys to share this video. If anybody ever posts, oh my God, we gotta take on qualified immunity, I want you to say, no, no, no. The first thing we gotta take on is Terry versus Ohio, okay? That's the first thing I want you guys to do, okay? I want everybody to be willing to do that. Can everybody say that? I will take on anybody who says that qualified immunity is the problem. Everybody just type it right down here. Just write it, type it out with your thumb. I will take on anybody who says qualified immunity, and I will show them this video that Terry versus Ohio is truly the problem. Truly, truly the problem, okay? I'm heading to downtown Tucson. No chasing babes, all work, guys. We don't stop. We don't stop, all right? We don't stop. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Listen, I'll see you guys. I'll be in downtown Tucson in 20 minutes. I'm gonna do a little auditing tonight. I'm gonna do some auditing of some cops tonight. I am not gonna sit at home tonight. I'm gonna go make sure cops are not abusing anybody's rights. I'll see you guys in about 25, 30 minutes, all right? Remember, share this video, all right? If you guys want a poster, go to DeleteLawZ. Thanks, I appreciate your time. I am out of here. You guys have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.